Yeah.
We knew Week 11 was going to be huge for so many different reasons. Huge for tons of college football playoff contenders, huge for so many individual conference races, and Week 11 did not disappoint. It absolutely lived up to the hype. And we are here to break down everything that happened in Week 11 of college football. We're not going to delay it any further, jumping right into our recap. But first, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We are so happy that you could join us today. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below. We have so many exclusive offers, exclusive content there for you guys. Go sign up on MyBookie. Use our promo code GridExpert over there. Check out the description down below for the link and the promo code over on MyBookie. Bet anytime, anywhere, bet anything over on MyBookie. Take advantage of that, guys. You get a 100% sign-up bonus if you do that. And occasionally they're doubling your first deposit if you go sign up today over on MyBookie. So make sure to take advantage of that. Take advantage of BetNow and PrizePicks, and take advantage of our expert picks. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the country for one of the lowest prices in the country, guys. We're only charging $30 for the entire year for one of the combos, or $50 for an entire year for both college and NFL. It's a year-long subscription. So you order now, you're getting it through November of next year. And again, guys, if you can see from our picks up here, we are killing it on the college game, guys. Again, one of the best marks in the country right now. Better than ESPN, better than CBS, better than Saturday Down South, better than NBC, better than a good amount of the guys over on Vegas, and better than the majority of the guys here on YouTube. So if you want some of the best college football spread picks in the country, you need to come sign up today over on the gridironexpert.com. And links for that are down in the description below. Before we jump into the first game we have up here, we'll take a look at how we did on predictions. 26-6 on the money line in Week 11. So a little bit over 81% there. And we are nearing the end of the regular season, guys. We are on track to have the best season yet here at the Gridiron Expert. 350-83 on the year. That's a little over 80%. 80.8% on the year on the money line right now. So we are killing it on those straight up games. A couple of weeks left in the regular season, guys. We're benchmark 77%. We're well above that. So we're thrilled with where we are there. 6-4 against the spread this week. Should have been 70. So close. But again, guys, we are killing it. We are hitting about 65% of our bets over the last 3 weeks or so. Again, another winning week here from the Gridiron Expert. I think this is our fourth or fifth straight winning week, I believe. So if you're missing out, you are missing out. We're sorry that you're missing out. If you're missing out, you need to go sign up today so you don't miss any more of the picks we have the rest of the season. Because we have the rest of the season, we have the bowl picks coming out in December. Every single bowl game, every single NFL playoff game. Overall, 61-52, right at 54%. So that's pretty decent above that benchmark of 52.4%. And it's only going to get better by season's end. So take advantage of those picks today. Go sign up today. It is never too late to join our team. So we take a look at Week 11. We take a look at what happened in Week 11 of college football, and what a wild week it was. Let's go start on Thursday in the ACC, where we had a big-time quarterback matchup between number 21 Pittsburgh and North Carolina. The Panthers outmatching the Tar Heels, winning 30-23 in overtime. An instant classic on a Thursday night, in a game that was huge, not just for Pittsburgh and their ACC title hopes, but for Kenny Pickett and Sam Howell, two of the top quarterback prospects heading in to next year's NFL draft. I believe there were about 30 plus general managers and scouts from the NFL at this game, and it didn't disappoint. Kenny Pickett throwing for 346 yards and 3 touchdowns. Sam Howell, 296 yards and 2 touchdowns. The two offenses combining for 825 yards on the day. And it was just a wild game, guys. Really a tale of two halves. Pittsburgh leading 23-7 at half, was up 17-0 at one point. Well, in the second half, North Carolina stormed all the way back, took advantage of a Pittsburgh missed field goal, and took advantage of a Kenny Pickett interception with about 5 minutes left to come back, tie the game up, and send it to overtime. But Kenny Pickett got the job done in overtime for the Panthers, scored on their first possession, just took them 4 plays, and then the Pittsburgh defense stepped up big and intercepted Sam Howell on 4th and 11 in the pouring rain, we should add. So An unbelievable quarterback battle, unbelievable game with the stakes being very high. Pittsburgh, though, getting the best of the Tar Heels, and the Panthers are now 8-2. 8-2 and get just one step closer to clinching the ACC Coastal and getting to the ACC Championship game. We take a look on Saturday, guys. That's where we move on to now. The morning games on Saturday were ridiculous. The morning games were unbelievable. That was where we saw, I think, the most of the madness in Week 11. And we start in Happy Valley, where number 6 Michigan outlasted Penn State 21-17. A game that was huge for the Wolverines to keep not just their Big Ten title hopes alive, but their playoff hopes alive, because the Wolverines, controversially for some, are ranked ahead of Michigan State despite Michigan losing to the Spartans just a few weeks ago. They are 6th in the country. If they can take down Maryland next week, it's going to set up a massive showdown against Ohio State in the season finale, potentially with the Big Ten East on the line and a playoff berth on the line for both, possibly. But Michigan had to beat Penn State first, and they did, 21-17 in Happy Valley. And we said coming into this game, we felt both these teams were very even, and statistically, they were. Michigan, 361 yards on the day. Penn State, 332 yards on the day. Not much of a difference there. Each team committed one turnover. Penn State was leading 17-14 with 5:55 left. And then Eric All decided to turn on the Jets. Eric All decided to turn on the Jets on a 47-yard touchdown catch and run from Cade McNamara, and that gave Michigan the lead with a little under 4 minutes remaining in the game. Unbelievable catch and run. Don't really know how Penn State wasn't able to stop him, but a big game, big-time play for the Wolverines, and then the Michigan defense held strong on Penn State's next possession, and the Wolverines eventually ran out the clock to escape with that narrow victory over the Nittany Lions in a very tough environment against a very solid Penn State squad. Michigan, guys, they're the real deal. A lot of people wanted to criticize Jim Harbaugh, give him a hard time, say he can't win the big games. He's winning the big games. Going on the road and beating Penn State was something that they really hadn't been able to do. Well, they got the job done there under Harbaugh. Got the job done on Saturday. Now they have to get past Maryland. Can't afford to overlook the Terrapins, but we're looking at a big game, the game, in a few weeks against Ohio State, assuming the Buckeyes, of course, take care of the Spartans next week. However, we go down to Waco in the Big 12. This was probably the biggest upset of the day. Obviously it was. It's our thumbnail for this video. Baylor, the 13th ranked team in the country, upsetting number 8 Oklahoma 27-14 and ruining Oklahoma's playoff hopes. Oklahoma's college football playoff hopes are done. Obviously, they weren't getting much respect from the committee to begin with. Being an undefeated team out of the Big 12, they were still ranked 8th. Not a top 4 team in the committee's eyes. Certainly not going to be now. And even if Oklahoma wins out, and that might include a win over Oklahoma State and a Big 12 title, Oklahoma probably is not getting in. Baylor ended those hopes. Baylor won their first game over Oklahoma since 2014. Baylor ended Oklahoma's 17-game winning streak. And, of course, ruined their playoff hopes. What a game this was. And what a performance really this was from Baylor's defense. First off, they played so well that Caleb Williams got benched. Caleb Williams threw for just 146 yards and 2 interceptions to the point where Lincoln Riley said, hey, we've got to bring in Spencer Rattler. Like he was going to be any better. Baylor held Oklahoma to 260 total yards of offense. And if you have watched Oklahoma football, if you know the type of offense the Sooners typically have, that is extremely impressive. 260 total yards on the day. The Bears led 24-7 late in the fourth quarter, so the game was well put behind them in the fourth quarter. Baylor, obviously winning by double digits wasn't that close to begin with, but certainly was a big win for them. Certainly was a big lead for them. And then Dave Aranda decided to kick a field goal as time expired just for good measure. He says it was for Big 12 tie-breaking scenarios. I think he just added insult to injury. And I admire Dave Aranda for doing that. Some say bad sportsmanship. I say more power to him. Excellent call by Dave Aranda. The committee likes to look at margin of victory. They're not supposed to, but they do. So you beat the number 8 team in the country, the lone undefeated team left in your conference, outside of Oklahoma State. You do that, a lone undefeated team left in your conference, Oklahoma State, going to be the highest ranked now. Beating them by 13, every point matters. And I think that was a great move by Dave Aranda to get those style points in there, now winning by 13. And the last thing I'll say on Baylor is the defense was fantastic, but we can't disregard their offense, which has been so balanced all year long. 296 rushing yards on the day against this Oklahoma defense. 296 rushing yards on the day. Abram Smith, 148 yards on the day. Gary Bohannon, 170 yards on the day, 107 yards on the day. Baylor is now 5-2 in conference play, and they're looking really good to make that Big 12 championship, because while Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are still above them in the conference standings, Bedlam is still waiting for them, which means Oklahoma or Oklahoma State will eventually lose here in a few weeks, which of course will end up helping Baylor in terms of maybe sneaking in to that conference championship game. The Bears, guys, even though they have 2 losses, to me, are the second best team in the Big 12. And Oklahoma is not the other one. Real quick, tucking down the SEC. Wasn't one of the biggest games of the week. Wasn't really a game we had our eyes on, but we got to address it. How about Mississippi State? How about the Bulldogs? You know, in basketball, we always say it's a game of runs, right? And then you get down 10. They go, oh, look, they're on a 15-0 run. They're up 5 now. Well, Mississippi State was down 28-3 at Auburn, on the road, down 28-3 against the 17th ranked team in the country. And all hope looked lost. No way Mississippi State was coming back from that, right? Not a chance. Well, Mississippi State put together a run for the ages, outscoring Auburn by 40. Mississippi State went on a 40-0 run in this game. Down 28-3, quickly turned it in to 43-28. An unbelievable turn of events. And give credit to Mike Leach for jerking a knot in his team at halftime. Give credit to Will Rogers for putting together a performance of a lifetime. 415 yards and 6 touchdowns against this Auburn defense. And this Mississippi State defense cracking down in the second half, holding Auburn to 158 yards in the second half. Really cracking down, obviously only allowing just 6 points in that second half. So Mississippi State putting together an unbelievable 40-0 run and completing the largest comeback in school history. Again, down 28-3 at halftime. Atlanta Falcons fans, plug your ears. Sticking in the SEC, we got to touch on the number 1 team in the country. We always do. Georgia dominating Tennessee. You know, for a while, it looked like we could be in for a tough game. It looked like Georgia could be in for a tough game by the end of it all. And I will say, Tennessee gave Georgia the toughest test they've had all year, if you exclude the Clemson game. You know, people look at that and say that was a tough test, but was it really? How much stock can we put into that? This was the toughest test, at least in conference, that Georgia has seen all year. Tennessee actually led Georgia. Tennessee was leading Georgia 10-7 after one quarter. After the first quarter, they were leading 10-7. Tennessee's offense was the best that Georgia has seen all year, and did the most damage on this Georgia defense, putting up 17 points on the Bulldogs, putting up 387 yards of offense on the Bulldogs. But ultimately, Georgia was too much. Their defense got a couple clutch stops, and their offense was as balanced and efficient and methodical as ever. 213 passing yards, 274 rushing yards. We knew Tennessee's defense wasn't great, and Georgia knew that, and they were going to attack that. Tennessee relied on their offense, and they put on the best offensive clinic that Georgia has seen all year, and that's only 17 points, the most points Georgia's allowed all year. And that still wasn't enough. The Volunteers losing at home by 24. Georgia scoring 34 unanswered points, a 34-0 run after that first quarter where they trailed by 3. So Georgia, guys, still the team to beat, still the number 1 team in the country. And as you watch the rest of Week 11, as you watch Week 12 going forward, you can't help but question, is there a team in the country that can take down Georgia or even just compete with them for 4 quarters? Going over to the Big Ten again, number 4, Ohio State, taking down number 19, Purdue, 59-31. We knew that Ohio State was going to win this game. We felt confident about that. But we also knew that Purdue was going to put up some yards, and they were going to put up some points. And the Boilermakers did not disappoint. The giant killer, they'd taken down Iowa, they'd taken down Michigan State. Some people thought they'd take down Ohio State. We didn't feel confident about that, at least not in Columbus. Ohio State, guys, 624 yards of offense, 361 through the air, 263 on the ground. They did not look ahead. Ohio State did not get caught sleeping and caught looking ahead to the big game against Michigan State next week. And obviously after that, they played Michigan. They were focused. They were laser focused from the start to finish. C.J. Stroud, 361 yards, 5 touchdowns on the day. Purdue still had 481 yards of offense. So Ohio State has to fix their defense, but they very well could have the best offense in the country. It was their 5th 50-point game of the year. 5th game, they scored at least 50 points. No one else can really say that, guys. Ohio State's offense, I would say, is the best in the country, and maybe they are the team that could give Georgia the biggest test in the college football playoff. Couple games left here. Only 3 left that we want to talk about. How about Ole Miss taking down Texas A&M, or 15 Ole Miss taking down number 11 Texas A&M, 29-19. This was our game of the week. This was our game of the week, and we said it was a clash of styles. We said it's going to be A&M's defense versus Ole Miss's offense. Which one's going to give, right? Surprisingly, Texas A&M's defense is the one that gave. Ole Miss put up 504 yards of offense against this Texas A&M defense, and they, like Georgia, like Ohio State, were very balanced. 247 passing yards, 257 rushing yards. They held Texas A&M, who has been killing people on the ground. A&M was running over all of their opponents lately. Missouri and South Carolina and Auburn last week ran all over them. They held Texas A&M to 141 rushing yards. And this Ole Miss defense played better than Texas A&M's defense. This Ole Miss defense racked up a safety. They forced 2 interceptions off of Zach Calzada, one of which was returned for a touchdown, a pick 6. And this game, guys, ruined Texas A&M's chance at an SEC championship. The Aggies had to win out, and they had to hope Alabama would lose one game, whether that was to Arkansas or to Auburn. Well, now that the Aggies have lost, they are not going to make the SEC title game because Alabama losing one of those 2 games was a long shot anyways. But obviously losing both now, not going to happen. Ole Miss playing spoiler on the Aggies. Ole Miss now and Lane Kiffin, they're 8-2, guys. 8-2. And a double-digit win season is not far-fetched. They play Vanderbilt next week. Chalk that up as a win, 9-2. And then a big offensive showdown in the Egg Bowl when they travel to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. Last 2 games here. Number 12, Wake Forest, pretty much clinching the ACC Atlantic over number 16, North Carolina State. We said this was going to be a shootout. We said this was going to be a really, really fun game, high scoring, and it lived up to the hype, guys. We said it was going to be a fun quarterback battle. That lived up to the hype. Devin Leary throwing for 408 yards and 4 touchdowns. Sam Hartman, 290 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the 2 combining for 5 interceptions. So the defense is stepping up a little bit. Maybe not judging by the points, but judging from the turnover standpoint, they did. This was a back-and-forth game, a high-scoring game, just as we expected. But ultimately, Wake Forest, after somewhat of a slow start, ended up pulling ahead and getting that go-ahead touchdown later on in the 4th quarter to finally pull away by 10 and get that separation was the ultimate nail in the coffin for the Wolfpack. The Demon Deacons are 6-0 in conference play. They're 9-1 on the year. 2 games left at Clemson, at Boston College. Clemson right behind them at 5-2. So if the Tigers take down the Demon Deacons, Wake Forest would be 6-1 in conference. Clemson would be 6-2 in conference. So the Tigers would still need a little help. But obviously Wake Forest in the driver's seat, controlling their own destiny, and they're looking really, really good to clinch a spot in the ACC title game where they would most likely face Pittsburgh. Wake Forest and Pittsburgh in the ACC title. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that before the season started? Not a single person in the entire country. And yet here we are getting to maybe see a very unique championship game. And the final thing we want to talk on here, last game we want to talk on, how about Kansas? How about Kansas earning their first Big 12 road win since 2008? And of all places to do it, in Austin, Texas, against the mighty Longhorns, who are now 4-6, defeating Texas 57-56 in overtime. Guys, the Jayhawks were outgained by 154 yards. Texas had 574 yards of offense. The Jayhawks had 420. Yet this Kansas defense was resilient. They had 4 turnovers, forced 4 Texas turnovers. One of them was a pick 6. The 4 Texas turnovers resulted in 21 points. The Jayhawks jumped out to a 35-14 lead at halftime, and then were outscored 35-14 in the second half. Of course, Texas then forcing overtime. And after Texas scored the first touchdown, you couldn't help but feel bad for Kansas. You said, dang, so close yet again. Because a couple years ago, they almost beat Texas in Austin. But this Kansas team under Lance Leipold is different. And after they scored their touchdown in overtime, he said, we're going for 2. We're going for the win. And they got it. They got the 2-point conversion, guys. And the Jayhawks, who had 1 win coming into this game as 31-point underdogs, went into Texas, took down Steve Sarkisian, who might be out of a job by season's end. Yes, I said it. Look, Texas is 4-6. Has at West Virginia and Kansas State left. Probably won't or isn't going to go bowling. Just lost to Kansas. Couldn't beat Oklahoma. Couldn't beat Oklahoma State. Got blown out by Iowa State. Got blown out by Arkansas. Texas is a dumpster fire right now. And this was the icing on the cake, guys. Steve Sarkisian very well could be out of a job. I know everybody in Texas is wanting him out of a job right now. This was it, guys. And Casey Thompson, give credit to him. He's trying to do everything he can for Texas this year. But, When you have no other talent around you, when your defense is garbage, there's nothing you can do. Casey Thompson, 358 yards, 6 touchdowns on the day. Not enough for the Longhorns, guys. Texas falls to 4-6. Kansas gets their second win of the year. The only other one was in week 1 against South Dakota. But the Jayhawks, 57-56 in overtime. Jayhawk fans rejoice. Yeah, it's basketball season. Get excited for that too, but get excited for the future of your football program because this was a monumental victory for your program and a major, major step in the right direction and just shows you where this football program is headed under your new head coach in Lance Leipold. So congratulations to Kansas. An unbelievable game. A game that no one saw coming, no one saw happening, but they deserve all the credit in the world for that. In Texas, I begin to question if you're ever going to be back. So guys, another wild Week 11. Even a game like Kansas and Texas that had no Big 12 title implications, that had no playoff implications, provided for what's been a wild year of college football and what was obviously another wild weekend of college football. And honestly, you can't beat it. You just can't beat it. And as we only have 2 weeks left in the regular season, guys, it's only going to get wilder from here. Conference races are going to tighten up. We're going to get some clarity on those. And the playoff race is going to tighten up. And we're going to see a lot of shakeups over these next 2 weeks. So buckle up. We've got a crazy next few weeks coming your way, and we're going to have you covered every step of the way as well. So once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. Do not forget to share the video so we can continue to spread our content analysis with as many people as possible. Of course, check out everything down in the description below as well. Take advantage of our expert picks. We're on a roll right now with our expert picks. You do not want to miss out on those. Some of the best in the entire country. Take advantage of MyBookie and our promo code over there where they're going to double your first deposit. Take advantage of it and apply it to the NFL games today and Monday. Apply it to college football next week. These are year-long things. Expert picks, MyBookie, BetNow. All those are year-long offers. So what are you waiting on? Take advantage of it now. You're not going to regret it. It's going to be one of the best decisions you make all year long, and you're going to make money off of it. Who doesn't love money? So take advantage of that offer. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.